Once upon a time in a lush green jungle, there lived a beautiful peacock with feathers that shimmered like 1,000 rainbows. He strutted around the jungle, always preening his feathers and admiring himself in the clear streams. The peacock believed that he was the most handsome bird in the entire jungle and often boasted about it to anyone who would listen. One day, the peacock was taking his usual stroll through the jungle when he came across a wise old owl perched on a tree branch. The owl had been watching the peacock preen and posture and finally couldn't help but speak up. "My dear peacock," the owl said in a calm, soothing voice, "you are indeed a beautiful bird, but why do you waste your time simply admiring your looks? There is more to life than just being pretty." The peacock stopped preening and turned to the owl, a puzzled expression on his face. "What do you mean?" he asked. "I have nothing else to do. I'm a bird, after all. All we do is preen and prance about." The owl shook his head, a knowing look in his eyes. "That may be true for some birds, peacock, but you are far from ordinary. You have a gift, a unique talent that you haven't discovered yet." The peacock scoffed. "What talent? I am the most beautiful bird in the jungle. Isn't that enough?" The owl sighed, realizing that the peacock's vanity was blinding him from seeing his true potential. "Beauty alone will not bring you happiness, peacock," he said. "True fulfillment comes from discovering and nurturing your talents. Only then will you find contentment and peace." The peacock, however, was not convinced. He thought that being beautiful was all that mattered. And with that, he turned away from the owl and went back to preening his feathers. The owl watched him go, a deep sadness in his eyes. He knew that the peacock would only realize the truth when it was too late. The peacock, blinded by his own vanity, continued to strut around the jungle, preening and posturing. He became so absorbed in his own image that he started to forget about everything else. He stopped paying attention to the sweet songs of the birds, the rustling of the leaves in the trees, or the gentle flow of the stream. All that mattered to him was his reflection in the water. One day, the peacock was admiring himself in a pool of water when he noticed a flash of movement in the corner of his eye. He turned his head and saw a beautiful peahen approaching him. The peahen was the most beautiful bird he had ever seen, and the peacock was immediately smitten. He puffed out his chest and spread his shimmering feathers, hoping to impress her. But the peahen looked at him for a moment and then turned away, walking away from him without a word. The peacock was stunned. He couldn't believe that she wasn't impressed by his beauty. He decided to follow her and see where she went. He followed her through the thick undergrowth and into a clearing where a group of birds were gathered. The peacock hid behind a tree and listened to their conversation. "Did you hear the news?" one of the birds said. "The king has announced a contest to find the most talented bird in the jungle. The winner will be given the hand of the most beautiful bird in the kingdom. As a reward," the peacock's heart sank. He had been so caught up in his own beauty that he hadn't heard a thing about the contest. He wanted to win the peon's hand, but how could he compete when he had wasted so much time doing nothing but preening? The other birds in the clearing were discussing their talents. There was a parrot who could mimic the voices of other animals, a nightingale whose song could make the flowers bloom, and a hawk who could fly higher than any other bird in the jungle. The peacock felt a pang of regret. He realized that the owl had been right. He had wasted his time and now it was too late. On the day of the contest, the peacock stayed hidden in his tree, watching as the other birds performed. The parrot mimicked the roar of the lion and the cackle of the hyena, and the nightingale's song filled the clearing, attracting butterflies and making the flowers sway. When it was the peacock's turn, he hesitated. He didn't have any special talent to show off. Just as he was about to give up, an idea struck him. He strutted into the clearing, spreading his beautiful feathers. "I may not have a special talent," he said, "but I am the most beautiful bird in the jungle." The other birds laughed at him, but the peacock didn't care. He had finally found something that he was good at, something that made him feel special. He danced and pranced in the clearing, his feathers shimmering in the sunlight. And for the first time in his life, he was truly happy. The judges, who were 3 wise old elephants, looked at each other and nodded. They had been searching for the most talented bird, but they had overlooked the most obvious quality, beauty. The peacock may not have had a special talent, but he was indeed the most beautiful bird in the jungle. He was awarded the prize, and the peahen, who had been watching from a tree, came down and joined him in the clearing. The two peacocks danced together, and the other birds watched, realizing that true happiness comes not from what you have, but from who you are. From that day on, the peacock never boasted about his beauty again. He knew that true happiness came from accepting yourself for who you are, not what you can do or what you possess. He continued to dance and preen, but now he did it with a sense of humility and gratitude for the unique gift he had been given. He also became a mentor to young birds, guiding them to discover and nurture their own talents and gifts. And so, the peacock, who was once vain and arrogant, became known throughout the jungle as the wisest and most humble bird of them all. His story serves as a reminder to us all that true happiness and fulfillment come not from external factors, but from within ourselves. It is only when we accept and appreciate who we are, with all our flaws and imperfections, that we can truly be content. So next time you find yourself comparing yourself to others or feeling envious of their success, remember the story of the peacock and realize that true happiness comes not from what you have or what you can do, but from who you are. If you enjoyed this delightful tale, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. If you'd like to hear more captivating stories like this one, stay tuned for more content. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more enchanting stories in the future. So keep watching, keep believing in the magic, and let the adventures continue. Until next time, farewell!